Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to our first episode of Truth or Tinfoil. Now,
Yay.
yay! This is something that we've been tossing around because, I watch a lot of YouTube. I see the TikToks, and I'm like, that's just not real. That is, and I do that. And then there's other times where I'm just like, wow, where did that come from? Why isn't this bigger than what it is? And I'm like, I wonder how they did that, or why is nobody talking about this? And of course, that's what we're going to do here at Truth or Tinfoil. We're going to take them and we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it. Each episode, we're going to try to find pictures or stories or even video clips where we can break these things down and also get your input and see what happens. So today, we're going to be talking about the Hill House, the haunted Hill House in Mineral Wells, Texas,
Yes.
which is awesome because Randy, you've been there.
Yes, I have, as well as
Yeah.
you have.
And I have been there. And this year, I'm going back. So I'm super excited. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We're going to talk about our experiences and all of this kind of stuff. But what we want to talk about is Randy ran across a picture that had me questioning things. Because I have been there, I am still confused as ever. Do I believe that house is haunted? I absolutely do.
Oh,
But
100%.
is it? Yeah. But is it as haunted as people are saying? That's what makes me question, because there are things that I've ran across that have never happened to me before. They were strange. And
Mhm.
like I said, we'll get into that. But evidently we're not the only ones, Randy. We're not the
No,
only ones.
no,
They've
we are
got
not.
a whole Facebook page dedicated to
Yes.
what happens to people, when they
Yep.
investigate this house.
And that place is full of footage and pictures, and they do a very good job of making sure people understand what they're looking at when they see it. So,
Exactly. So let's talk about the house a little bit.
mhm.
Now I know that when they got the house that it was haunted
Yes,
to begin with.
yes,
It was haunted. But let's go into it a little bit deeper. They buy objects
yes,
that are supposed to be haunted or have attachments and bring them also into this
mhm,
home that's already haunted.
yes. That kind of what I gathered as well. I mean, does it add to the mystique of it? Yes, very much so. But could they have brought something else in that wasn't there before? We don't know that for sure. But it sure as
Exactly.
heck lends a lot of credence to a lot of the stuff that people are talking about happening there. So,
Yes, absolutely. Randy, can you tell us? We're going to talk about the main character. We're just going to call it a character because nobody is sure what this thing is. We don't
yes,
know any, where it's coming from. Of course,
yes,
it never did anything to me while I was in there, as in
no,
evil wise, like
no,
scratching or throwing me anywhere or hitting or whatever. It didn't
yep,
do that. But let's talk about Toby. Can you tell us
yes.
about Toby and what he's all about?
Best thing I have been able to gather. Now, Toby was not a fixture of the place. I believe Toby to this day is some sort of a demonic entity that is in
Hmm.
there. Now, I didn't have any interactions with him as well, just like you didn't. But there have been many accounts on there, and there have been pictures who people think they've caught pictures of Toby in the demonic form. So, I mean, he's a mischief maker, but he's not there all the time either, which leads
Right.
me to believe that it'd be more of a demonic force than it would be a spiritual force. So
Well, I mean, and I hate to say demonic. I hate
yeah,
to say
because I
that.
can't say that. But if something moves in and out of the plane, normal for lack of a better word, normal spiritual spirits or ghosts would not be able to move in and out like that.
Or
From
could.
what I believe. Now, can it happen? Yeah, but the way it's kind of presented is he's there one day, not there the next. He just might not be there. He might follow this one home. He might follow that one home. That leads me straight to thinking that's something attaching and reattaching and coming back and go for. His base is there, and he is kind of doing his own thing.
Well, and I've been to places where the main spirit character, whatever, has done that. I
Yeah,
I've been to several places several times, and one time I'll have activity or some type of interaction with this spirit or
yeah,
whatever we want to call it. And then
exactly.
there's other times where I get absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
Um, my belief is that there are transient type of spirits. They'll just come in, do their thing, and then they'll leave.
yeah.
Um, Sometimes you'll never see them or hear them again. And then there's
Hmm.
other times where it's just like they'll come in, do their thing, go out, come back later and do it too.
And that's where
Um,
we thinking, talking along the lines of a active versus residual haunting too.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
you,
Absolutely.
you just don't know if
Um,
they're there because they want to be there, or it's just a repeat, and it just have to be that time the veil was thin enough for you to see it.
yeah, true, true. So if we're sitting there, okay, I'm gonna just deep dive into this
Yeah.
because we're sitting on the couch in the living room, and I'm literally hearing walking around, and
Hmm.
I hear people talking,
Yes.
and one would happen to be a male. Now this is
Yep.
where it gets tricky. I was in the house with four women and no men.
Yes.
So I mean they do have I want to say residual but intellectual spirits in there. I think they
Hmm.
hang around just because of all the activity that runs in the house. Now,
I think so too.
you can actually reserve and rent this whole house, for an overnight investigation.
Yes.
Um, I believe if you are hardcore investigator, if you are hardcore, I believe this place is for you.
Yeah.
If this
And
is your first one ever,
yeah.
I don't recommend it.
If you do it's your first one ever, make sure you have somebody more experienced with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't. This is like if you had like a novice and an expert level, this
Yeah.
would be on your expert level because a lot of things were going wrong
Yeah.
um, during our time when we were in there.
Hmm.
But Randy ran across this picture, and we're going to discuss this picture for a
Yeah.
little bit because it got us both kind of thinking that this is kind of strange. Now,
Yeah.
tell us about what's happening in the picture. I mean, with the people in the picture.
Well, these ladies that are in this picture, I got this, and I'll say this picture came from Haunted Texas. I don't know if it's still out there or not, but I found it on Haunted Texas, a group on Facebook. And the more I studied, the more I looked at it, it's like there's a couple of things going on in this picture that they put it out there. Say, hey, we don't know what we just saw here. We just saw it when we got home, and this is what we see. What do you guys think? And this is what Haunted Texas does. They put stuff out there. Hey, take a look at it. What do you all think? And it's usually nobody berates anybody. Nobody said, but they literally, hey, we think it might be this though. We think you're not cutting them down, but we want to make sure it's the right thing. So,
Right.
and come at it more of a third eye, looking at it as well. Um,
Right.
but
And then, well, come to talk about that picture, though. You and I were looking at it, and we were looking
yeah,
at the things that were obvious. But then I
yeah,
spotted something really super
yes,
crazy in this picture that
yep.
just didn't quite make sense.
No,
So,
no. Okay. Do you want me to go ahead and bring it up so we can look at this, and I'll let you start with the first bit of it. How's that?
yeah, yeah. Let's go into it, and we're gonna
Okay.
we're gonna look at this picture now. We blurred these ladies' faces out,
Yeah.
just because. I mean, first of all, their faces. There's nothing wrong there, and it's irrelevant to the picture. But we also just don't want to put them out
put their
there on
identities
social
out by
media.
any accident or anything else. So, all right, here we go.
Exactly.
All right. So, which way would you like to start?
Let's start with going on with what's between them. Bring
Okay.
that up a little bit.
We're going to come into here. Okay. Now,
So now, Randy, what are you seeing here?
well, what I see here is I see two different distinct mists. I say mists, shadows is what they really are. I see the one up top, obviously. Now, uh, some
Why
people can
don't
look
you
at this.
just, yeah,
What's
run
that?
the cursor over that so we can see what's
Right
happening
here.
there. There's,
You got one distinct
yeah,
one here and one
one
distinct
distinct
one here.
shadow.
And this one here, I see a lot of people, and this is just, devil's advocate side of it. Like I said before, that some people could look at it and say, oh, well, that's just a bird flying through, it just got blurred. The
Mm-hmm.
problem is with that, if that was a bird flying through, I should not see that trim right through here. Let me see if I can zoom
No,
in a little bit more. I should not see that trim that's on the back side of that bird right there.
yeah, because if it were an animal or something flying through, we have to remember that the blur it would black out
Relatively
everything
solid.
behind it.
Yeah.
It would be
It would be,
solid. Yes.
yes. Same thing with down here. Now this one is even different, even more stands out even more because it's even more opaque. Translucent. You can see more through it than you can even this one up here. So is this two different entities? Is this one entity trying to do it and he's kind of got split apart as he, she, or it is trying to somewhat manifest?
Or, like I said, is it all one thing? Like it's trying to
Yeah.
manifest, which
And
from my experience, I've seen all types of apparitions, and
yes.
they show themselves in different ways. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that has to do with the strength that they have,
Mhm.
or this is just what they do. Like I
Yep.
said, nobody's an expert. We don't know. That's why
No.
we're doing the show.
Exactly. And we're open to any suggestions, obviously, in the comments. If you got an opinion on it, leave it there. We'll look at it. Don't worry. I mean, but this is
Absolutely,
just our
absolutely.
reaction right now, looking at this particular one spot. Just from the way it moved, it looks like it's kind of coming. It looks to me like it's probably one, and part of it's viewed in two different spots. That's the personal
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah. Or my opinion on that is that if it is a real shadow person, they caught it in mid manifestation mode.
Exactly.
Um, it couldn't come completely through, you know, when
Yeah.
they were taking the picture. They, like I said, they caught him mid change.
Yeah. Well, and if I back this out a little bit now, and you see where this is now, this room over here is the carousel room, is what they call it, which
Hmm.
has a lot of dolls and kids stuff in there and everything, and it's got a little chimney type um, area with. You can call it a chimney, you can call it a fireplace, you can call it whatever you want. But essentially, what it was a dumbwaiter at one time that
Hmm.
was used during the Prohibition era to hide the booze. That whole area up in there was little nooks and crannies where they could hide the booze during Prohibition area. So you've got that area over there. What if something's coming from that carousel room and going across to the other room that's over to the left side over here, that's out here? What if it was just making its way across there, and it just happened to get caught that little bit?
Maybe, maybe. I mean, now was the window always there? Was that part of the original?
As far as I know, the house is completely original. You talking about this one up here or this one over here?
No, where that window was that window always there? Where
This right here?
the
No,
no,
that's the
where the
front door.
shadow is? Where the shadow
Oh,
is?
that's not a window.
What is that?
That's just the corner of the house. That's the corner of the porch right there. Up top here
Oh, wow.
is where they have their camera, that monitors the camera and mic that
Oh,
monitors the front
okay.
porch. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay, now I'm
So you
remembering it.
remember where
Yeah.
it's at now, right? Yeah.
Right, right. It's been a minute. I've slept since then, but yeah,
Yeah, I'm with you on
now
that.
I'm seeing it. Now I'm
Yeah.
seeing it. Yeah. Well,
So,
that
but
that just
it's
that
tough
just
to
makes me
say.
wonder if they were hiding, alcohol,
Hmm.
there would be definitely some strange characters going in and out of that house.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like you were saying, when you were in the living room and you heard the voices and such,
Yeah.
when I was in that carousel room and I actually got up inside that chimney slash fireplace area, myself and another guy named Tommy, we got up in there
Uh-huh.
and we could hear, nobody was upstairs at all, and we could hear the people talking and moving around upstairs in the little, we called it the speakeasy room area where they would go and hide people and stuff, and then right below it is where the dumbwaiter would come down.
Right. Needless to say, this place has a history.
Oh yes.
And the history itself is amazing because
Hmm.
for me, you wouldn't even have to add in these all these other items that
No.
they think that may have attachments. It was haunted enough, basically,
Yeah.
by what we're seeing.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree
So
100%. And I don't go into a place. And anybody that's ever seen me on any of these shows knows I'm the healthy skeptic on the majority of the stuff. But
right,
even I had to sit there and double take 3 or 4 times in that place. So
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Um, so if so if you go to their website, you'll be able to watch video from several different
The
views that they
Facebook
have in
page.
the house.
I don't think they actually have a website. They have a Facebook page though that has
Or yeah, their Facebook page.
all
There
their
you go.
videos. Yeah. And I'll put it in the not comments, but the description of this video, so that way people
Right.
can find it. I'll link to their Facebook page.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I'm going back this year, but
I'll
my
laugh
whole
at you.
investigation technique is going to be a lot different.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah. So
Yeah.
let's go to something you were looking at. The side of the house, which I find is weird.
Right here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can get
Go
even
ahead and
closer here.
circle that. There is like a mist right there, and it's in the shape. It reminds me and Randy of a body.
Yeah.
And it
Yes.
just kind of it's a different color than everything else.
Hmm.
It's not blurry, it's translucent.
Yeah. And it washes out the colors of the house behind it. As you can see
And
that
the and yeah,
yeah,
and the tree.
and the shadows
And
and the
the
tree.
tree.
So
Right.
I mean, that was the first thing I saw. Now I saw the black parts, but I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to the shadow person. But this one drew me to it the first time I saw this picture. It drew me to it immediately, and the
Right.
reason being because it stood out so much to me. I don't know if it did it to anybody else that saw this picture or what, but it stood out. Now, can certain programs out there still be used to put that kind of stuff into it? Yeah, yes, they can. Now, when was this picture taken? I still don't know. I wasn't able to find out when this picture was taken, but judging from the tree and the sunlight and everything, it had to have been late spring, early summer. I'm guessing, just from what
Right.
they look like they're wearing and the way it looks outside with the green leaves and everything. It couldn't have been midsummer because they wouldn't have been there because it's just too dang hot and there's no AC in that place.
Right.
So I'm thinking late spring, very early summer, probably April time frame is what I'm betting. But
Right.
somebody could have had it for that long and done something to it. But if it would have been something from another batch of software, there'd have been telltale signs. Like you cannot see, you would not be able to see this through it as cleanly. You know what I mean? It
Right.
would look like
Right.
a blurred image superimposed is what it would look like. Where this doesn't look superimposed,
Exactly.
this looks like it was there.
Right. Well, and like I said, it's blurring out the tree.
Hmm.
It's blurring out the tree, but it
Yeah.
is not as if something were moving because
No.
like we talked about earlier, it would have been like a solid type
Yeah.
of blur, but we're seeing everything through it.
Yeah. And then, as you go up higher, now here's what the other thing that we were looking at as well, right here.
Yes.
Now, what did you
Yes.
see there? What did you say you saw there?
To me, it looks like the head there, but it looks like it's staring straight at you. Now, I understand this could be pareidolia, but
Yeah,
I'm just going to explain what I see. It looks like
exactly.
something looking straight at you, and it could have some type of, I don't know if it were a hat, or it kind of reminds me of ears or a little bit, but
Hmm.
it's looking like straight at the camera as it's
Yeah,
walking. It's very
like
strange.
right there's the eyes,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
here's the nose.
It looks like it's walking past you, but it turns its head
Yeah,
and
kind
looks
of
at you as it's walking.
for
And
sake
that's
of
what
a
it reminds me of.
yeah, for sake of a comparison, like when Patty turns around and looks back at Thatcher and Gimlin
There you
when he
go.
turns his head. That's kind of what it kind of reminds you of. But the thing that got me when we were talking about it before, this right here, we were like, okay, that looks like a little bit of a head, either hairdo or a hat. And I said to
Yeah,
you, I was like, it looks like something that the head, the hats type headdresses that women from the 20s wore during
right,
Prohibition era.
right, right.
So
But
it,
you know, this is the thing, Randy, and I think you may be onto something. I think you may be onto something here, because if you take my view out, which very well could be pareidolia, this is just what I'm looking at, and it could be all separate things. It could look like somebody is totally walking to the side and not even looking at you.
yeah. Well,
So
no,
I
I'm
mean,
saying it could still be looking at you like we were talking about the sideways look, and that this is the shoulder. I lost my
yeah,
description. This is kind of the shoulder and the bust line right here as they walk that way, and they turn
right,
over their shoulder and look at them while they're taking the picture.
right,
And
right.
then, like I said, the hat would be facing you as well. Now that's just perception, obviously. What you said
Of
could be
course,
right as well. You know what I mean? I mean, it could be
right. I mean, but
if they were
what
staring
I'm
at you. This
looking,
could be the shoulder. So
right. But what I'm looking at is I see that it's very it's so blended that I couldn't see somebody inserting anything or photoshopping or anything into that
yeah,
spot. Now,
yeah,
whether it was a lens flare or anything else like that, I have no idea.
yeah.
But
We couldn't tell.
it does remind me of that blur going between the ladies' heads.
And we'll be
That
where
same type of look. See, it's that same opaque, translucent down here.
yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
that part right
Um,
here.
right. It reminds me of that same shade of what's
Uh-huh.
happening,
That
but
amount
that's
of
very strange.
translucidity, if you want to call it.
Right, right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that
Well,
real well.
I guess everybody out there is going to have to try and figure that out for themselves. If, what do you think it is? Because,
Yeah,
honestly, we don't know. And
yeah.
we've been looking at
We've
it.
been looking at it
And
for a week or more, at least.
yeah, yeah, because we can't decide. And it seems like the more we look at this thing, the
Yeah,
weirder
the
it
more we're
becomes,
finding. Yeah, and the more we're finding. I mean, because look how far down this goes. Honestly, when I started looking
Yeah,
at it goes
as if
almost
it
all the
were
way
they
to
were
the
wearing a
ground.
dress.
Yeah,
Yeah, like they were wearing a dress. Yeah,
yep. I mean, and we were talking about how it faded out the tree and stuff and covers the tree. It covers the actual shadows right here too. Those are the
right.
shadows from the tree on the siding. Same as how dark it is over here. Not as dark there.
Yeah, you can actually
So,
see through this image and see
mhm,
the shadows that are naturally created. So that
exactly.
makes me believe, so that it
Yeah.
could be something. Can you bring it down to towards the bottom of it again? I want to see the bottom of
Okay.
that. We haven't really. Okay, see
We haven't
now if we're getting
see it's
now, is that as
even
far
getting
as it goes?
the grass almost.
Yeah, almost in the
Yeah.
grass, but you can
Almost in the
definitely see
grass.
it goes all the way down the side of the house.
Yep. At
I don't
least to
know.
here. I mean, it's tough to say with that grass that may be a shadow actually. That may be a light beam right there. But
It
yeah, you can
might
still see
be.
the outline until about right here.
Right.
And of course I
I'm
can't
on the
see
fence
past
about
this
it.
obviously. I am too.
Yeah.
I mean, it could
I'm on
be
the fence about it.
yeah. So yeah, could somebody have done this? As long as they knew exactly what they were doing with their software, yeah, they could do it. But then you sit back
But
and go,
see,
why?
right.
That's the other thing. You got to ask yourself, why would they do it? First of all, number one, it wasn't out there very long. It seemed like it got taken down relatively quick. I don't know why, but I didn't see anybody berating the ladies that put it up there that I saw. And I'm like,
Right.
looking at it more and more, I'm like, this is actually, something that's worth discussing. It's
Yeah,
not worth,
that's what
just automatically jumping to a conclusion on.
right. That's why I'm finding that this particular part of this photo is more intriguing to me
Yes.
than the actual you can see a guy's face in the hat, the one on the front porch.
Yeah.
This one is more because this is kind of more obscure. These are the things that we're looking for as paranormal investigators because
Exactly.
they're not going to come out all the time and say hi,
No. Even though we
you
wish they
know.
would.
Oh, yes, even
It'd
though
make our
we wish
job a
they
lot
would.
easier.
Right, but in this scenario, this is more like what a classic entity spirit would do is they're there.
Yeah.
They're just kind of hanging out elsewhere.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
just they want to
Exactly.
be a part of what's going on, but they're not going to be the main attraction.
No. They just
You
kind of
know.
watch.
Right. But but so Randy and I were looking at this
Mm-hmm.
photo, this whole entire thing, and we're seeing all
Yes.
this weird stuff going on, and we're like, wow. I said, show me the windows. So he showed me the window that is straight in front of us right now, and it's completely covered. You can't see anything. And we're
Yep.
looking at it, and I'm like, okay. So then we went to the other window. And yeah, you're gonna have to get really up close to this. Now you will see the tree has flowers on it, but in the corner where he's got his cursor right now, look right above that flower cluster. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It looks like eyes staring out at you for sure.
It's like you can see like the forehead, the eyebrows, the eyes, and the nose right over the tip of that flower
Yeah.
cluster at the top of that tree. You can
Yep.
see it. It's just hanging out there. It doesn't seem now to me because again, I didn't take the picture. I can't tell you what the flower
No.
actually looked like. It doesn't seem to be a part of that flower cluster.
No, and it doesn't look like I said. I've gotten as close to camera before it gets pixelated, and it does look like the
Right.
flowers end right about here, right about to this
Okay.
point right here, and then this is what's
Right to the
left up here.
eyes.
Yeah,
Like right to
this is
the
what's left.
eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, see,
So we're
now,
seeing something from the eyes up.
yeah, that's kind of that's if you're looking at these right here as your eyes. Me, first time I looked at it, these dark areas was what I was looking at as eyes,
Mhm. And to
almost
me, I'm
like it
looking a
was.
little farther down.
Yeah, so and that's just perception, obviously, because as you can see, there's a shadow of a high line right here going
Okay,
across.
yeah.
That's a shadow of
Okay.
a high line, and then you got it's going across here, but you can't see that shadow very well. You can barely make it out going across there. So, what would be making the shadow right here to do that? First of all, or the shadow going across to do that?
Right. Right.
And as we
But
discussed it,
really, yeah, but really knowing what we know, anything is
yeah,
possible in this house.
exactly. That's why when you brought it up, I was like, oh my gosh, it is there. I could see it. But then we talked about
Yeah.
what room that is. And if
Yeah.
anybody out there that's ever been there, that's Emily's room right there, is what they called it.
Tell
Now,
us what
Emily's room,
is yeah, tell us what's significant about Emily's room.
I don't know the whole story about Emily's room. They didn't. I probably slept through that part when she was telling me. And Kat, I'm sorry if you hear this. I'm sorry I didn't remember this part. But I can tell you one thing for sure. That was the one room in that entire place that I did not like. I didn't want to go in it by myself. I didn't want to stand around it by myself. I wanted to make sure somebody was upstairs with me when I was in it. It
Right.
gave me that kind of vibe, and I don't go off of vibes, but right outside that door is where I actually found what I like to call a vortex, if you want to call it a vortex. There's no wires, there's no electric, there's no plumbing, there's nothing at this corner of this one little bit of a closet here. Nothing at all. My EMF went crazy. My radio frequency went crazy because I use a tri-field meter. My radio field went crazy, and the electrical field, the voltmeter per square foot, that went crazy. All of them just through the roof, and it's all from I'll say, about a foot and a half to 2 foot off the ground to about 3 foot off the ground in that one area. If you went too far down, it disappeared. If you came up, it disappeared. It was in one spot.
Right. You know,
So
I do have to throw a little bit of caution out there. Like I said, this, like if you're rating investigators, this is on an expert level. I do have to say there were teenagers in the house that were trying to conjure things that shouldn't have been conjured.
yeah,
Um, and it is right in that area where we're seeing the face.
yes. Oh yeah, that I'm glad you said that because, like I said, Emily's room was just Emily's room to me. Like I said, everybody talks about Toby's room, they talk about Josh's room and Jacob's room, and even the carousel room and all that other jazz. Everybody else wanted to go that, but something kept drawing me back to that Emily's room.
Okay, so Emily's room is the one at the very end.
If you go up the steps and you look and you're looking right into Toby's room, to the right and back.
Okay, so if I were looking at Toby's room, all I'd have to do is turn around and look at Emily's room.
Hang a right, and it's right there.
Okay.
You got the closet, and then right after you pass the little trophy case that's covered right there, boom, right there.
Yeah, there was a lot of things going up there. Like I said, my next investigation there is going to be completely different, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But
Okay.
I mean that's just a heck of a picture. I don't know. Everybody out there is just going to have to leave some comments and let us know what you think about this because, I mean, is it pareidolia? Could be.
Yeah,
Could be. Could it be a lens flare? Sure.
It could easily be a reflection of one of these flower clusters too. Just from the
Right.
angle, it could easily be a reflection, but
Yeah.
it's just funny that it gets into that particular shape.
Yeah. Well, let's go back down to between the ladies because I want to point something else out before we move on from this picture.
Okay.
In between the ladies, you see those two translucent kind of marks going through there.
Shadows. Just call them shadows.
Well, yeah, there's a good word. These shadows there.
Yeah.
But if you look at the lady's hair, either one of them, they are not blurred out.
Mm-mm.
They are not overshadowed by this thing. It's not in front of them. It is completely in back of them, up by the front of the house. Yep. So yeah, you can look at that all you want, but the lady, their hair, it doesn't look like there's a color change or anything. Nothing. There doesn't look to be a film over their hair. Nope. There's nothing.
It's all behind them.
It is all behind them.
Here's another thing that I'm just now, because I'm looking at it, blown up now that I never even looked at before, because we're all concentrating on these two right here, right?
Right.
What's this?
See, I was looking at that, but that could be just a shadow. They could have had something sitting on the porch, and it's reflecting off of that and producing a dark spot.
Yeah. And that that right there is another example of what could be lens flare as well.
Well, could be, but then again, let's just talk about it. This house is not painted. You can tell that it is not painted. So that could be just a spot, a dirty spot. It could be just whatever. Like I said, that's something that I can't tell because I can't see the whole thing. So
yeah, and that's why I just happened to notice it just now, literally, because I wasn't paying attention. Anytime we look at this, I'm immediately looking right here, which goes to show your eyes get pulled where something is not that you don't think supposed to be there is at. You never even think to look right here because it's so faint, and that's the only issue I really got with it because of how faint it is. I would have never noticed it if I hadn't have blown this up, because you got clear right here, and it's relatively clear here. You can see the line where it blurs or where it starts to kind of come together right through here. So it's like one particular spot, and could it be part of those two? Who knows? I mean, but I just happened to notice.
It could be something out on the front porch. I mean,
exactly. It could be any one of 100 things, but it happened to be there right then. I was like, before we even got on, I never even looked for that before. And I just had, why is that doing like that? Wait a second. Maybe I need to look at that closer. And I might have to put it underneath my software and see if it is an actual shadow or what. But I mean, you can see how these are, I mean, you could even see a little bit of a faintness right here, almost like this overtook that some.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'm not sure.
anywho, I'm not either.
I'm not sure. I'm on the
So,
fence. I'm not going to call
what
it
we're
the
doing?
truth, and I'm not going to call it tinfoil
No,
because I am on the fence.
yes. Well, I'm gonna say it's haunted. I'll tell everybody straight out. It is haunted. There's no doubt in my
Oh
mind
yeah,
on that. But
absolutely. Because
these
we're going to
are
get let's just do that video because
okay.
okay, so I'm going to describe the video, and it's actually of me and of the three other ladies that went with me, or I went with them to the haunted hill house. Now we're all sitting there, and now Kathy, which is one of the owners, she is sitting in there with us, and we're discussing things that have gone on in the room, the history of the room, and blah blah blah. So all of a sudden, Holly, my friend Holly, and I were sitting there, and we're against the back wall, and we start hearing things. There's shelves, and it's got like books, and it has glass on there, and all kinds of things, just little knickknacks. Well, we started hearing things move. Okay, so as you can see on that very back wall, you'll see the shelves and all the knickknacks they have there. Well, we started hearing them move. So we kept looking at it. All of a sudden, this super loud bang came into that room. And you're going to see, I have my ball cap on, of course, it's backwards. But you're going to see three of us get up and move. And then you're going to see one that doesn't. Well, she has bad knees, so she can't get up and move like that. She just it's physically impossible. So she just had to sit there through the whole thing. God bless her. But
And hope something didn't come after behind.
right, because we were already at the door.
Yeah.
But
Okay. You
so
ready?
here it is, and we'll let Randy play it here.
And I don't have the sound obviously on this because y'all wouldn't be able to hear it very well anyway. But the lady there, the owner, she was you didn't move and you were scared the most. But she didn't
Oh,
ask about the knees, obviously. So
right. But the owner, who is actually used to hearing this, doesn't make it any easier anytime. Doesn't make
no.
it. This lady gets frightened from time to time in there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but she got up and moved. Of course, we're not the only ones that this had happened to. Um, at all. We're not the
No.
only ones that it's happened to. It happens a frequent thing. This is one thing that does happen in that room.
Mm-hmm.
But she got up and moved because it was that loud.
Yeah. Yep. And
You
it
know,
caught her off guard. You could see, and I'm gonna back it up a slight bit, but you could see it catches her as off guard as it does y'all. And she's
right.
in there literally every single day. For the most part, she's there every day, especially on weekends when she's got people coming through there. She's there all the time, and it still
Right.
caught her off guard.
Right. Because if you see me, I from the very beginning, I'm sitting in that far chair next to that shelf, but
Mm-hmm.
Holly was standing at the door
Back
and
over here.
she's looking at me, and we could hear the stuff moving behind me.
Yeah,
We could hear it.
yeah. Now that's what they call the poker room there,
Yes.
and or i.e. the scratch room as well. People have been scratched in there, and on our investigation, one of our guys got scratched, and
Absolutely did.
it messed with him to the point that he left before we finished up. He was gone. He did not want to be there any longer. He toughed it out for another hour or two after that, but he didn't want to stay anymore. He was done. And quite frankly, I can understand why. I mean, he was. They caught an EVP. I don't know if he still got it or not. I'll have to ask Sonny later on. But there was an EVP as Tex and everybody was playing poker at that table, and they
Hmm.
dealt in Willie, the entity that's supposed to be there. They dealt in Willie, and we've set it at K2 meter there just for giggles. I almost said the other word, but we set it there for giggles. And when they played early on, it was like it was working the light. You know what I mean? The light flicker whenever they'd ask the question, because they would literally deal Willie in, and we asked him, Willie, do you want to stay? Do you want to hold, or do you want to stay? Do you want to hit, or do you want cards? What do you want? We were playing 5 card. I think we played 5 card draw or 5 card stud is what we did.
Hmm.
and said, "Willie, you want to call or do you want to raise or Willie call? Hey, flicker. We call him. Hey, you want to call Willie? It didn't flicker. We fold him, and we did that for a bunch of rounds. A bunch of rounds. Every
Right.
time that K2 meter went off where he wanted to call, he won. Willie's hand won every single time. So
Well,
I
you just don't know what to do with that. Now, of
no.
course, the same bunch of ladies later on in this evening that we're looking at right here,
Hmm.
we went back to this room. Of course, it's the poker room,
Yes.
and we were sitting there for a while. We had all kinds of activity. We didn't really have to move out of there. I mean, things were happening all over the place, and we just kept watching it. I mean,
Yeah.
even the owners were asking us, "Well, you guys didn't really move that much last night," and we're like,
No.
"No,
Didn't have
didn't
to.
have to."
No.
Mm-mm.
No. Like I said, and I mean, going upstairs is another completely another fathom, for you because if you get up there, you start getting the creaks of the old house and stuff involved, and like that's what we're saying. If you're a novice at this, you want to carry somebody that's an experienced investigator with you because there's a lot of stuff that can cause you to have issues.
Yeah, and I'm not talking level 1 or level 2 experience.
Hmm.
I am talking level 3 experience.
Yeah.
Um, because I really have to go back to the point of is I didn't really get the chance to hang upstairs in Toby's room a whole lot.
Yeah.
We went up there, we did a whole lot of things. Um, but like I said, the people that I went with and myself, I consider us level 3s,
Yes.
um, investigators. So and Randy, you've met us. You've
Oh yeah.
watched us investigate it,
Yep.
investigate. You know what we're doing.
Yep.
We're we're
Exactly.
we're we're not new by any means,
No, they got
and
all
we're not
cool stuff
scared
now.
by a lot. Yeah, and we're not scared by a lot. So,
No, to see y'all
but
jump like that
yeah,
speaks tons just from the get go.
yeah.
I mean,
Now
honestly,
I may bounce in my chair or something like that.
yeah,
Um,
but you
but
don't jump
I
up.
I no,
No,
no. Um, and then I watched Holly. Holly and I have been to the Conjuring House. We stayed the night in the Conjuring House.
yeah,
We've been to Waverly. We've been to all kinds of these big places. Our last
yeah,
one was, Ohio State Reformatory. I mean,
yeah.
we've been to all these places. We're not jumpy people,
No,
but all of us were on the move at that point. Now, the lady that is down with the very very blonde hair, and she's sitting closest to us in
yeah,
the picture. She's sitting
yeah,
down at the very bottom of the picture. Um, he got to the point where we were gonna, take a nap because that was just the beginning of our full weekend. I mean, we had other places that we were going to investigate,
yep.
but she actually went to her vehicle. She said she is not closing her eyes in that place.
Uh,
She
I,
actually said it. So she had went outside and slept in her car for a couple hours while the rest of us, we just decided to take the couch and go to sleep.
yeah, yeah, and that's what we did too. I mean, I that one big chair that's in the living room area, that one big loungy chair, not the couch or anything. I racked out in it for probably a couple of hours between about 3 and about 5 a.m. And every once in a while, I'd rouse up thinking I heard something, but I, like I said, I didn't have anything happen physically to me, and I didn't have anything happen around me that other than a couple of things, like I'd said, hearing the voices and stuff. And we even tried to antagonize. We put Tex in that little room under the stairs. Yeah, we put Tex under the stairs, and we
Yeah,
locked
they
him in
have
there.
a scry room in there
Yeah,
where there's a mirror in there, and then there's a little seat, and it's right under the stairs. It reminds
yeah,
me of the Harry Potter thing,
that's
you
exactly what I
know?
was thinking. Covered under the stairs there.
Yeah, it's just, people under the stairs. Remember that old movie?
Yes, I remember that one too. But yeah,
So, I mean,
we shoved Tex in there and let him stay in there, and we actually, I forget who it was. We put a chair in front of it so he couldn't just bust his way out either. But I
right.
mean, I had cameras in there with him and everything, and just nothing ever really happened. So
Do you think, okay, because we had an experience like no other. We're standing up and we're actually upstairs and we're looking out the hallway.
Okay.
And I'm standing in the doorway and I'm looking into the room.
Into
My
which room?
friend is looking out. So she was in front of me and she was looking out this way, and I'm looking into the room.
Which room are we talking about?
I think it's Emily's room. I think we were standing there at Emily's room. What's the room at the end of the hallway, at the very end of the hallway? Not Toby's room, but the direct other side.
Well,
Um,
there's kind of two. If you're going up the stairs, you're looking into Toby's room, okay?
right.
And then to the right and back by the window that faces out to the side, that's Emily's
Yes.
room. Looks like a
Okay.
little
So that's exactly
bookcase
the
over
room we
that
were
area too.
standing in.
Okay.
We were standing in Emily's room. I was in the doorway and Debbie was looking out of the doorway and I'm looking into the room. So we're kind of standing like this. She's looking
Yeah.
out and I'm looking in.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Is that somebody walking down the hallway?" She goes, "I just seen someone come out of that room and walk." Now she's standing inside the room, so she can't see farther on down the hallway.
Yeah.
So I turn around and stick my head out, and I kind of looked over there down the hallway, kind of looking towards Toby's room. And sure enough, you can see like a head, and it was kind of like bobbing as
Yeah.
as we would walk.
Yeah. Just walking, just don't.
Just
Yeah.
walking right down there.
Yeah.
And it was
But
coming
so
out of the room that I believe the 3 teenagers were in who were trying to conjure things.
that was Emily's room though, I think.
Was it Emily's room? I'm not sure.
Well, like I say, if you're coming upstairs and at the top of the stairs, you're looking right into Toby's room. You've got to the left side, and you got their little spirit boxes right here on that corner.
Yes, yes.
To the right. To the
Yes.
left side back there, that's Josh's room, I do believe.
In the very back.
And you go back, hang around the banister, you go back there and to the back, and that's what got the little crawl space behind the wall back there.
Yeah, and I do have to say that this place is a little bit of a maze because it's nothing is open. Everything is boxed off in its own little space.
But that's exactly the way houses were done back then too.
Right. And you can I can tell you this though, that I was standing in the doorway of one of the downstairs bedrooms, and I think it was the boy, I wish I could remember all these rooms because, like I said, there's a ton of rooms. There's a lot of space. You can investigate really well in this place.
Toward the front door?
No, it was towards the back where that lady was pulled out of the bed.
Oh, that's was it Jacob's room? I think it was
that Jacob's room is in the very back, but it was another one that was right back in there.
The one with the hidden bathroom?
Yes.
Yes. We called, I don't know what, I can't remember what she called. We call it the murder room because we're pretty sure that there was a murder committed in that bathroom.
Right. Well, as the story goes, I guess the murder happened in the bathroom.
Yep.
And then somebody decided that it happened in the bathroom. And then somebody decided they were going to, well, let me see. Let me think about that story for a minute. Kathy's going to kill us.
Yeah, I know. And I'm sorry, Kat. I'm sorry. But
we're sorry. But I'm trying to remember that they bricked up the bathroom first.
Yeah,
they bricked up the bathroom first. They were done with the bathroom. They weren't going to use it. They just thought they didn't need it. Yeah. But there was still a window that is in that bathroom, but it's very small and it sits up very high.
Yes.
In that bathroom. So from what I remember is that somebody actually broke into the house through that window and ended up in that bathroom and could not get back out.
That might have been. That could have been. Some reason I was thinking it was a lady that was killed by a doctor in that room.
And that was the one from the very beginning. Was the one from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, didn't they brick up that bathroom with her in it at one point? Or I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been a year and a half since I've been there or more.
It's been a minute. Yeah. But it's just the stories. The tour is a long tour.
Yes,
one of the longer ones I've been on,
but
but
it's
it is
very essential.
so interesting. And
Yes.
let me tell you, that tour was way longer with us because there was so much happening during our tour
Yes.
that we had to keep stopping and regrouping and
Hmm.
moving on. It was just like one thing after another after another after another, and we were questioning our sanity at that point.
Yes, I can yeah, definitely. There was a lot of times I was questioning because I would hear things and I was like, did I just hear that? Oh no, don't worry about it. Or somebody else will say something else. I'm like, wait, I'm hearing something. And sure enough, like just like what I was talking about with that dumbwaiter, that fireplace area that had
Right.
the hidey holes and stuff. When
Hmm.
we kept hearing stuff, and then when me and Tommy got into that thing and just sat there and listened, it became very pronounced that there's somebody
Right.
walking around above us, and we could hear the talk of the people. And that, to me, obviously, that makes me think residual haunting is what I'm thinking on that part. I think there's all different types in here, obviously.
Well, with everything added in, you don't even know what you're dealing with in there. I mean, you
No,
really don't.
you don't.
There
You really don't.
there's so much activity. I That's what I said when I go back. My
Which I'm gonna
whole
pull this
method of
down. I want you to talk about that.
investigation, yeah, our whole method of investigating is gonna change completely because I went in there with an open mind, and I always do. I don't go in there and I've already studied the place top to bottom. I sit there, I listen to what the owners are telling me or their tour
Yeah,
guides. I listen to what they're telling me. I don't I And that's unusual for me because I did go through the whole thing, and I normally
yeah,
don't like to. I like to just I just like the history. Don't tell me
yeah,
where everything's haunted. Just
yeah,
don't tell me where everything's haunted. I don't need to know that.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, we
just
went through
tell me
that
the
with the
history.
bar. Remember? So
Right, right. And I didn't want to know. Which the bar was quite fascinating too.
well, yeah,
Um the But it's very strange. I wish I could remember those stories, and I'm so sorry, Kathy. I'm so sorry.
yeah. We will. Actually, you
But
met my
you
daughter Abigail. You know,
Yes,
down at the
yes,
bar when we did that investigation. She wants to
yes.
get married there because they have on their website stuff that they're a wedding venue as well. She wants to get married there whenever she does get married. I'm like, I love this kid.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
She wants somewhere haunted. Well, get her somewhere haunted.
Yep. And then she can
I
carry them with
recommend
her
it
as she goes.
100%. But
Exactly.
I am going back to the Hill House in
Hmm.
2024. Um, I just don't know. We're gonna have to come back here with the evidence that I get from that and do like a part two on this
Yeah.
and really try to figure out what we're dealing with.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, and
You know, because
like,
I will never tell you a place is haunted if I don't think it is.
yeah.
I will
Yeah.
never produce fake evidence
Yeah.
because, as we all know, it is easily exposed.
Yes. You can tear it up real quick. So,
Right. And as an investigator, your integrity is everything. And
hmm,
so I would never do it. I would never do it.
agreed.
But I just feel that now that I know what I'm in for going to this place, I will be a little more centered, a little bit more focused, and
Better
be able to
prepared.
get some good evidence out of it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, like I said, I mean, I got the pictures of the scratch off of our guy, and like I said, we had I think we had 5 Macs in there because we had Rocky and Ron, from the old Odyssey when they were used to run
Right.
Odyssey Network.
Right.
We had them in there with us. Those two, me, Tex, and my buddy Keith, and his buddy Tommy, and one more, Bob. And so we had 6 or 7 in there, and
So
they recommend.
yeah, you had all men in there.
Yeah, we had all men, and they recommend. They told us they said, hey, they tend to react. She told us from the get go they tend to react more toward women, and they react when you got about 7 or 8 or 9 in there at one time. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to just go out and find 2 or 3 people. I could have real easy. I grabbed them off the street, but either way, I mean, I'm like, yeah, this is a fun thing, and don't get me wrong. I mean, you're going back with the ladies again, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, definitely y'all need to make sure y'all get squared away with that because I want to see more of that. But they have the Lone Wolf Challenge too. You can go in there and do all night. I think it's 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. whatever, 12 hours by yourself.
Uh,
But they document it all and they stream it at the same time, so that way people can come online and tell you to do this, tell you to do that while you're in there.
somebody to have to pay me. That's
Yeah,
all I got to say. Somebody's going
I'm
to have
with
to
you.
pay me because I wouldn't do it.
I would do it because I don't think they would attack me or something like that. It'd be like Tex. Tex would have done it in a heartbeat because he lives to antagonize stuff. So
Right. Which I'm trying to talk him out of.
yeah. Well, good luck on that. I've been
I'm
trying
like,
for 40
I,
years.
right. I mean, you got to talk about it. Text from Texas front porch.
Yep.
He does things his own way, but I'm trying
Yes.
to show him that that's not how we do it. That's not
He,
how we do it.
he can't go
So
into a haunting like it's a Bigfoot hunt. Okay. It just
yeah,
don't
yeah,
work that way.
we can't do that. Yeah, we can't
Yeah.
do that.
But yeah,
So
either way though, yeah, the lone wolf, I would do it, just because, like I said, I think that they wouldn't come after the men like they would after a woman. And the last two, I think that have done it have been men, and they didn't. They've made it all the way through. So
they
now I just threw out the challenge for you, didn't I?
haven't had any women
They
complete
did have
that.
one lady try and do it, but I don't think she made it. I think I remember seeing
I
one
don't
lady had
know.
tried it.
I haven't heard.
I'll search and see on their Facebook, see if I can find it. But I think they had one try it. I don't know if they ever had one do it. But
True.
that just lays down a challenge for you.
I know, but that place has got me a little bit crazy.
Yeah, I
You
can
know what I
understand.
mean? I'm still not sure of what I'm dealing with. If I knew what I was dealing with, um, it's easier because
Yeah,
then I know what I would know the do's and don'ts.
yeah, exactly.
But this place, the dynamics are completely changing all the time because of the new artifacts and things being entered into the home. So like I said, the dynamics are always changing.
Yes. Yep.
And
Eh, it's a very fluid situation in that place. It really is. It really is. I mean,
mm,
honestly, I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I mean, because I've seen the videos of people having the one video of the lady getting jerked out of the bed, and then you got another video up in Josh's room up there. We were talking about on the left side as you go upstairs. There's another
mhm.
video. They're sitting there talking and doing an EVP session. This lady's holding this flashlight, and that flashlight doesn't just fall out of her hand, it gets knocked out of her hand. There's I don't know how you could rig anything to take a hand. Say you're holding it like this, and it's sticking out right down here. I don't know of anything you could rig without seeing it that would make it go phoonk out of your hand like that.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know if anybody knows the old Ghost Hunter show, Jason Hawes. When he's sitting
Mhm,
on that bed on that one episode, I don't even remember what episode because they're all blurred
mhm.
together to me. But
Right.
he's sitting there on the bed and he's sitting there holding the flashlight, and all of a sudden the flashlight goes across the room. Well, I couldn't tell
Exactly.
from the view that I saw whether or not he did that or it just got
Exactly.
pushed. I mean, it just couldn't.
Right.
I couldn't tell. So
Right. Well,
is that
well,
post production?
this is something else we can talk about on another show, but
I'm sorry.
we're
Yeah,
right up here at 59 minutes right now. So
and we were
it
only going to
might
do this for 20 minutes, wasn't we? On that
I know,
one bit.
exactly. So I mean we got to sign off this time. But like I said, I'm not gonna call tinfoil on this one because I don't
No,
know. I'm
definitely
going
not.
back to find out though. I'm
I'm
gonna go
going to be
back
on the
and
fence
find
on it.
out.
So don't forget plug for you tonight.
Right, right.
Oh wait, they won't
So
see it till later. So never mind. You're good. By the time they see this, you plug for Texas on Monday. How's that?
yeah, we've already done everybody, so it's okay. We'll get them next time. But
All right.
since it's our first show, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate everybody coming. Like I said, we'll come up with other stuff that we'll just have to talk about because we're not sure if it's truth or tinfoil.
There's a
So
lot of
from Randy and myself, we'll see everybody next time. Okay, bye everybody.
peace out.